Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time. I've been trying to be consistent, but life has just been getting your girl. So we're gonna get right into it. Today I wanted to make a video on a Gossip Girl because I recently started watching Gossip Girl again. This is the third time that I've watched it, and I feel like every time I watch this series, I find new things that I like, dislike, or that I just been figuring. I've decided to make a video about the views that I have about Gossip Girl now that I'm 24 versus when I did when I was 14. So let's just get right into the video. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was how Vanessa was heavily vilified in the fan base, in the Gossip Girl fan base. Like, can we talk about it? Heavily vilified. And I'm not gonna lie, I was the main one. Like, when I used to watch it with my sisters, we would always talk, oh my god, Vanessa is so annoying. I can't stand Vanessa. Oh my god, I'm so glad when she left. We were wrong. Now, Vanessa has her flaws. I'm not gonna lie. Am I saying she's a perfect character? No. But she didn't get the level of fan base hate that she did. The only bad thing that Vanessa did throughout the whole series was stay friends with Dan for that long. She stayed friends with that man for way too long. Like, literally, I'm watching this series over and she keeps giving this man chances after chances, even though he keeps going back to Serena. He keeps hanging out with these terrible people in this world that he wants nothing to do with. He's a part of this world. Dan, you're a part of this world. But this isn't a Dan video. Vanessa, I know why she was heavily vilified. If we really want to talk about it, we can really talk about why she was heavily vilified. I remember, so I was watching, this was season 2, no, this was season 3, when her and Dan started dating. Worst relationship in the world, by the way. Still, that Gossip Girl view of mine has not changed. Dan and Vanessa was probably as bad as Dan and Blair, even though I feel like Dan and Blair probably takes the cake. Dan and Vanessa still were not a good couple. But in the one episode where she applied to like the same internship or something as him,
why weren't you honest with me?
Like, you were honest with me, going behind my back to apply for the one thing I wanted more than anything?
and he was being a hater and he didn't want to be supportive of his girlfriend. Plus, he cheated on Vanessa with Serena, of course. And she stayed with him and helped him when he thought that. Remember when Georgina came back and he thought he had a kid with Georgina, and Vanessa offered to move in. She was just doing too much for Dan, and she was always getting burned. Right now, I'm currently watching it back. I'm on season 4, and I left off where, like, the whole Juliet situation.
Sure, but half of what she does is to protect Serena, and she never pays consequences or takes responsibility.
Where Juliet ended up drugging Serena, and then Vanessa blamed it on Jenny, even though Jenny is all the way in Hudson. Was that bad? Yes. Which is why I could see why my 14-year-old self was really raging against Vanessa. But then I feel like now I'm starting to sympathize a little bit more with Vanessa. Like, hear me out, okay? Because I know the fan base really does not like Vanessa. The fan base hates Vanessa, and I used to be on that side. But if you guys are willing to follow with me through the light, Vanessa isn't that bad. She isn't that bad. Like, I don't even want to say she was annoying. Because the only time she was like kind of annoying was in season 1 when Dan and Serena started dating, and she was like, Dan is my friend. Like, you know, she kind of had feelings for him. But it was understandable because they were friends before. Her and Dan were friends before he met Serena, and then Dan started dating Serena, and then Vanessa came back from wherever she came back from. So I'm starting to look at it from a different lens. Like, okay, Vanessa wasn't that bad. She was justifiable in a lot of the things that she was doing, even though blaming the stuff on Jenny wrong. And it was also for the dumbest reason, to keep Dan. Why do you want to keep this man as a friend? Like, you're really gonna, like, Jenny and her were good friends. So for her to turn on Jenny just to keep this imaginary ongoing friendship relationship with Dan is just malarkey, ridiculous. But I digress. Can we mature and can we finally admit that we didn't have to do all that with Vanessa? She is really not the worst character. I found her incredibly annoying. But this time, for the first time in my Gossip Girl rewatch history, I have changed. And I have realized she didn't deserve that. Number 2, Lily and Rufus, worst relationship ever. Now that I'm watching this show for the third time, so bad. Number one, Lily was completely dishonest throughout the whole relationship, always keeping secrets. Rufus, I cannot stand Rufus Humphrey, and I think I want to do a video on how much I cannot stand that man.
You think you're so cute. Washed up band. Crappy so-called art gallery.
Well, not all of us have settlements from multiple divorces to sustain us.
And that stupid man, the Humphrey men, get on my nerves. Him and Dan, I could just make a whole separate video about the Humphreys, not including Jenny, because if you go back on my channel, that's one thing that I have not changed my view on. I'm sorry. I'm a Jenny stan. Yeah, Lily was very secretive, very dishonest. Rufus always trying to save people. Like, that man, I swear, once he got in that penthouse, he really started getting on my nerves. When him and Lily got married, listen, be a housewife and shut up, or no. Because he was always complaining about how he felt like he was her housewife, but you're not doing anything. Rufus, what are you doing? What happened to the gallery? You're just at home, but you're complaining. You knew what you married into. Lily, yes, secretive, dishonest, but I didn't really dislike her as much as I disliked Rufus. And then I know I'm about to get to the part where they introduce Ivy. Rufus, just an idiotic man. Like, he has a lot of the same qualities as Dan, right? Like father, like son like father. Same thing. Very self-righteous, just pompous thing. They're in the same world that they say they hate. Like, it's like, you know what it reminds me of? You know I hate it. It's the same people that are constantly complaining about capitalism, but they take place in they are a part, and in their daily lives they contribute to a lot of capitalist ways, but they keep complaining about it. Like, shut up. Like, you're indulging in it. You are the capitalist. Like, just shut up, Rufus. Please shut up. But Lily and Rufus, terrible relationship. I know a lot of people in the end of Gossip Girl, when Lily and William ended up together, they were like, oh my God, because William, schemed his way to get back to Lily. And they were like, who is Rufus with this random woman? Honestly, him and the random woman probably deserved each other, because Lily and Rufus, I'm sorry, I'm just not seeing it. I also used to be the one that was rooting for them, like, oh my God, yes, Lily and Rufus, I'm here for you. This time around, as my, the prefrontal cortex, yeah, it's developing, and I'm starting to see these little blimps in my judgment. And I'm starting to enjoy rewatching Gossip Girl this third time around, because I'm starting to notice, like, we all knew a lot of the characters weren't shit. But I think from my reflection over these past 10 years, I'm starting to see the reasons of why I thought certain behaviors were not acceptable, but I think I was just rooting for Lily and Rufus because the love. But when you think about it, terrible couple. Terrible for each other, terrible marriage, just bad, and I'm glad they broke up at the end. The third thing that I feel like, I'm not gonna say I didn't notice this when I was 14, but when you go back and look at the fashion, everybody dressed like probably a 75-year-old grandma. But I think the thing is, it's not about the fashion in the show, is that they made these characters seem so much older than they actually are, which happens a lot in not just CW shows, but TV shows in general, where they start off with a teen, not cast, but teen characters with the cast that are way older than the characters that they're playing. But I really realized this in the whole Trip and Serena era. We're also going to talk about that, because that man was 26 and she was just turning 18. My views on age gap relationships have also changed, so maybe that's why I'm looking at certain themes and certain relationships in this show a little bit differently. But I didn't know that Trip and his wife were 26. When I was watching Gossip Girl the other day, I noticed that, because it's very easy to fly through Gossip Girl. Like I said, third time watching it, blah blah blah, I'm here for it, but I'm noticing different things. But I'm like, this man was 26, only 2 years older than me. And yeah, 26 is an adult, obviously, but they just made the characters seem way older than they actually were. And maybe it's just like an existential crisis that I'm having. And I feel like a lot of us do have when the shows that we've watched before, we are now in the age range or older than the characters that we're portraying in the show. And then you're looking back at it and you're just like, what the hell? These characters are supposed to be playing 18, 19-year-olds, 20, 21, 22, and they're making them seem like they're 45. But that's one of the other things that I noticed that I'm like, maybe it's just my existential crisis. But you tell me, because they made them act like they were in their 30s or 40s. The way that these people, the way that Serena, Dan, Nate, Chuck, everybody, Blair, how they were acting, they aged those characters a lot. And maybe it's because of the world that they're from, like Upper East Side, whatever. But I don't know, because I don't know. You guys tell me. Oh, the fourth thing that I'm actually being very entertained about now is William Vanderwoodson when he first came in. Now, I, like most people, when you're watching certain shows and you have this build up where when there's a character as like evil and conniving like William Vanderwoodson, I was getting anxiety. Like when I first saw that he was giving her mom, well, pretending to cure Lily's fake cancer and everything, I was like, oh my God, wow.
To even imagine that I would prescribe your mother medication that she didn't need? It's preposterous.
Now that I'm rewatching it, obviously I feel the same way, like terrible guy, terrible human. But I'm very entertained, especially him and Rufus's little back and forth, because like I said, I really don't like Rufus Humphrey. I cannot stand Rufus Humphrey. So when I was watching their William's gaslighting and watching I'm watching Rufus fall apart and be the one looking crazy. I'm specifically talking about this one scene, and I'll put it in the video because when I was watching it, I had to record it because I was dying.
The most important thing that I can say here tonight is not to all of you,
Look at this.
but to them.
Look at this.
I made the mistake of my life walking out on you, and I promise to do everything in my power to make it up to you.
And look at Rufus.
Because I love you.
Look at Rufus.
My oh my. Did
No, because he really gagged
pass at
him.
Rufus's wife? Looks
Look
like
at
he's
Rufus.
talking about borders needs a few boundaries.
He's pissed. No, I'm waiting for him to come back during the whole Ivy era because I know he was the one that got, I forgot what it was exactly. I'm definitely gonna make a part 2 about this because there are so many things that I'm realizing about Gossip Girl now that I'm watching it. This is like basically season 1 to 4.5 what I'm talking about. I know it's gonna get even juicier. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, the show does go downhill when certain characters, Jenny, leaves, and I deal with that loss every time. It's just like the storyline is good, but I don't know. Jenny was always on people's neck. She was always on people's neck. So I'm to the part where she's not really in the show anymore, and then I know eventually Eric drifts off into the background and leaves the show. But yeah, these were some of the things. That's all I have. 4 things for now. I'm definitely gonna make a part 2. But these are some of the viewpoints that I have now that I'm 24 that have changed a lot back to then when I first watched the show when I was 14. The main viewpoint that really changed for me was the first one, the Vanessa being vilified throughout the show. Maybe I'm gonna go throughout. I might make a separate Vanessa video. That would be really good to do that. I might make a Vanessa video because the way the Gossip Girl fandom vilified this woman, and I was on that side too. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.